apartment block, chemicals, natural fertilizer, roof, harvest, community garden, fresh, green space, volunteer, organic, market, peppers, health, vegetables, aunt, area, neighborhood, local, lettuce, plant, lemons, dates, onions, tomatoes, balcony, produce, produced, need, needed, plant, planted, grow, grew, sell, sold, meet, met. On the roof of, good for, in the middle of, a good place to, on Friday afternoons. That's interesting. All the time. That's not all. From 1 square meter, make friends, come from. It sounds great. Where does Mariam go on Fridays? No school tomorrow. Do you want to come to my house? Thanks, Noor, but I always help my aunt on Friday afternoons at the community garden. The community garden? What's that? It's a big green space on the roof of my aunt Selma's apartment block. The people who work there are all volunteers from the neighborhood. We grow vegetables to eat and sometimes we sell them in the market too. That's interesting. What things do you grow? Well, we usually plant tomatoes, peppers, onions, lettuce, things people eat all the time. Sometimes we also plant fruit trees. This year we have lemons and dates. And you grow all this food in the middle of the city? Wow. Yes, it means people can grow their own fresh food and it's organic too, which means we only use natural fertilizer. We never use chemicals. Does your garden produce a lot of vegetables? Yes, it does. From just 1 square meter of roof garden, we can harvest 20 kilos of vegetables a year. And that's not all. Roof gardens also help clean the air in the city, which is good for people's health. And they are a great place to meet people and make friends. It sounds great, Mariam. We need more community roof gardens like that in our city. Mini forest, urban, earth aid, climate, the western desert, snack, competition, naturally, effective, logo, organization, foreign, religion, wildlife, volunteers, data or data, information, link, gymnastics, living things, effects, normally, movement, locations, movie theater, offer, offered, collect, collected, join, joined, become, became, understand, understood, drive, drove, overtime, look after, late for, at all, a few times a month, click on, do a sport, meet up with, find out, angry with. Earth Aid. What is Mini Forest? Mini Forest is an organization which plants small areas of trees in the middle of our cities. These special green areas help people enjoy nature and help our wildlife like plants, animals, and other living things. At Mini Forest, we always work hard to find the best urban locations for our forests where people and wildlife need nature most. We never grow foreign plants in our projects. We always plant trees that grow naturally in an area and we carefully look after them until they become a small forest. We also usually work with local communities to plant and look after the forests over time. We collect data from every forest we plant a few times a month. This helps us understand the effects of the new green space on the people, wildlife, and climate of the area. We rarely have enough volunteers to help us with our projects, so we are always happy when people offer to help us. Click on the link to find out more. Where do the friends decide to go on Saturday? What do you usually do on weekends, Gamila? I usually spend time with my sisters. We often go shopping in the city center, or we sometimes go to the movie theater. What about you? I don't very often go into the city. I usually stay at home and help my mom, but I sometimes visit my grandparents with my sister Angie and her kids. Where do your grandparents live, Nadine? They live in the countryside on a farm. It's near a town called Asyut. Do you know it? It's on the River Nile. Asyut, that's a long way from here. How often do you see them? About once a month. My sister can drive, so she usually takes me in her car, and we always try to meet up for the holiday at Eid al-Adha too. We usually stay for a week at their house then. I love Eid al-Adha. We always meet up with my mom's family for the holiday. They are all great cooks, and we always eat a lot. That sounds great. What about this weekend, Nadine? Are you busy? Not really. Do you want to do something together? Yes, let's go to that new cafe in our neighborhood. It's near the square. Yes, okay, it looks nice, and they have got delicious date and honey cakes. Saturday afternoon? Yes, that sounds great. I'll text you. Railway line, selfish local residents, guide, empty, whole, artworks, taste, lovely, view, season, species, silent, tiny, the high line, slowly, floor, theater, performance, wrong, branch, soft, suddenly, sound, famous, noisy, create, created, past, passed, miss, missed, share, shared, cover, covered, know, knew, feel, felt, hang out, hung out, tell, told, fall, fell, decide to, on their way home, fly up into, pass through, make into, fly away, come back, far from, look out of, spend time, what's wrong? Wael is in New York for a year with his family. Hi Samer, how are you? I am Wael and New York is great. Our apartment is on the 16th floor, so we have a great view of the city. New York has a lot of green spaces. There are also projects to create new parks and green spaces in parts of the city that no one uses now, like the famous High Line. Do you know about it? Years ago, the High Line was a railway line, but in the 1980s, trains stopped using it. Some local residents then decided to make the old railway into a big long park that everyone could use. Now it's a green space with more than 500 species of plants and trees in it. It's 2.5 kilometers long, and when you walk through it, you can see artworks, watch a theater performance, eat delicious food, or go running, or just hang out with your friends. I think it's my favorite place in New York. It passes through our neighborhood, so I often go there with my parents. Here is one of my photos of it. How are things in Alexandria? I miss home. New York is very noisy all the time. Alexandria is much quieter at night. There are lots of different restaurants here in New York, and the food doesn't taste like the food at home. I think the food tastes more delicious in Egypt. I miss our food so much. Write soon and tell me all your news. Wael. The Selfish Guide. In a village, there lives a guide who has a wonderful garden. In his garden, there are tall trees, beautiful flowers, and soft green grass. There are colorful birds singing in the trees and bees on the plants. Every afternoon, on their way home from school, the local children come to play in the guide's garden. The lovely garden always makes the children happy. The middle. But the selfish guy doesn't want to share his garden, so one day he builds a big wall around it. Now the children never come there to play. The days pass and the garden is always empty and silent. Slowly the garden grass turns brown, the leaves fall from the trees, the snow covers the garden and all the birds and bees fly away. Spring arrives in the village, but in the guy's garden it's still winter. Everything is under the snow. The guy doesn't understand. Usually his garden is beautiful in spring. What's wrong? Then, one morning he wakes up and hears a lovely sound. A little bird is singing in a tree outside. Then the guy hears another sweet sound. Children laughing. The end. He looks out of the window and sees that the children have come back through a hole in the garden wall. Now they are sitting in the trees. The leaves on the trees are green again, and flowers are opening around them. The guy feels so happy to see his garden grow again. But in one corner of the garden it is still winter. The guy sees a tiny boy standing there. He is too small to climb up into the tree. Suddenly the guy understands everything. Now I know why spring didn't come, he says. I think it's because I was selfish about my garden. He goes out and helps the little boy climb up into the tree. Suddenly all the leaves on the tree open and the birds fly up into its branches and start to sing. When you are not selfish, the guy says, good things happen. Informal, closing phrase, caption, distance, tone, porridge, opening phrase, meadows, especially, finally, infographic, Scottish food, squares, warm, famous, view, tradition, Edinburgh Castle, arrow, on the other side of, right back soon, put on, lots of love, to the age of, how are things with you? It's special for me, in the distance. Hi Layla, how are things with you? I'm finally in Scotland with Mom, Dad and Hanny. It's really interesting. Our apartment is in the city center, just next to a really cool park called the Meadows. It's on the third floor, and the park is on the other side of the street. So, we have a great view over the trees. People use the park a lot for sports and meeting friends, so there is always something to see there. In the distance, we can see the famous Edinburgh Castle too. I like Scotland, but there are lots of things I miss about Egypt. The warm weather, sunny weather, It's never hot here. And especially the food. Scottish food is okay, but Egyptian food is better. For example, for breakfast, a lot of Scottish people eat porridge. They usually make it with milk, and they sometimes put honey on it, but I don't really like it. I really miss my favorite Egyptian breakfast, full medammes. The people here are nice, and I have a lot of new friends at school. I often go to my friend Rona's house after school. We study together and sometimes we watch TV in English. Please write back soon and tell me all the news from home. Lots of love, Dina.